Welcome to Make Shit Happen. My guest today is Mario Mendes. Mario, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for taking the time from your precious, busy day. So thank you so much, man.
Sammy, thanks for having me, and you're pretty busy too, so I appreciate the time as well, man.
Awesome, man. Hey, listen, so our mutual friend, Jason Lee connected us, and he's like, this guy has Myfit Food, and as soon as he said that you own Myfit Food, I'm like, Myfit Foods, is it back? And he's like, yeah, man, they're back, and they have this location. They're in Denver, and I think they're one more place. I'm forgetting it. Portland, right? And I'm like, wow, this is great. And he said, hey, listen, I'm gonna, I'm like, tell me where it's at. I'm gonna go pick up some food. He's like, no, let me go bring you some food. And Jason brought me some food. And I'm like, man, this is exactly how I remembered it. And at one time, Myfit Foods was doing some big, amazing things.
Correct.
And so I'm glad you're back, and we'll talk about it in a second. Why you left, what happened, where did the journey take you, and how you back. So before I do that, I want to ask something, a couple of things about you.
Okay.
So, you're the same age. You're 44 or 40.
45.
45.
I got you by a couple of days, Sam.
By a couple of days,
Yeah.
all right. And I'm 44, and I mean, we met the other day, about last week, and I felt a good chemistry between us and like a good connection. And that's very important, right? Sometimes you meet somebody and they're not the same energy level as you, or same thing. And good thing is about us, we both the same height, so kind of work out better.
Correct. if you combine us, we might make one regular person.
So tell me, you were born, and you've been in Houston for how long?
I've been in Houston since March 1st, and I used to live here for 10 years before that.
Okay. And where were you at before that?
Before that, I was in Colorado for about 5 years, and then I was in Austin for 5 years before that.
Okay. So when you first started Myfit Foods, and I'm talking about taking it back in, when was it first opened?
I'm going to say about 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you first opened in 2008,
Uh-huh.
you had moved from Colorado over here?
So back in 2008, I had moved I was living in Houston.
Okay.
And so I was actually working, I was at Firestone Tires. I was changing tires for a while, became a mechanic. And then I had a really bad accident in January of 2000, actually December of 2000. And it made me rethink my thinking. And I had gotten shot 3 times out in the east side of town over by Galena Park. And so when I was in the hospital, I was thinking about life, and I didn't want to be a mechanic anymore. And I wanted to be a personal trainer. And so that's actually where I met Jason Lee at, was at the 24-Hour Fitness on I-10 and Federal. I started off there as a floor instructor, which basically is a janitor. You clean up equipment and you learn. So that's how I got back into Houston.
I remember exactly where that my 24-Hour Fitness was on I-10 and Federal.
Oh yeah,
It's not there no more, I think. I think it's another gym now. So you met Jason Lee right there at the 24-Hour Fitness.
Correct.
So did you become a trainer?
I did.
Okay. So you were a mechanic living on, working on the east side of town.
Correct.
And got shot.
Yes.
Was it a robbery, or you just were at the wrong place at the wrong time, or?
It was a house party.
Oh, it was a house party.
Yeah, it was a house party, and the guy had a gun. I knew he had a gun, so I was trying to get him out of the house, and I got him out to the street. And when we got out to the street, it was pretty much like a gang initiation. And I just told the guy, man, take your gun, get out of here, just leave us alone. And he took 3 steps, and he turned around. He had a 6-shooter, and he started shooting. He caught me 3 times. He missed me 3 times, and we're actually scrapping on the street. It was pretty crazy, man.
Wow. So, but you're here to tell us the story today. So
I am.
But that's good. The big Lord had something else for you planned.
Yes.
So now then you thought about it. You wanted to go be a personal trainer. So how did the personal trainer led into nutrition, or is it just because it goes hand in hand?
Great question, Sam. When you're training people, you get them great results. And after being a trainer for a while, what trainers figure out is you got to do 2 things. You have to work out. You have to have some type of working out, whether it's weight training, yoga. It could be vigorous vacuuming, right? But you got to push your muscles. And if you want to get results, you got to make sure you're eating right. You could actually say that nutrition is 80% of your results. But nutrition's like having a bunch of wood. If you don't have any flame to start off the wood, you're never going to get a fire. So nutrition's important. Training, some type of physical activity, even running, is just as important.
So that's why you got into Myfit Food.
I was one day I was on the floor and I was observing everyone. And I just had a big aha moment. And it was all these individuals are working hard. They're paying a lot of money to go to a gym. Some of them have trainers. And think about all the time that we spend working out. Why? Is it so we can work out for 1 hour so we can go eat pizza? That's not why. We're working out because we want to feel good. We want to look good. We want to get stronger. And I just thought, why isn't there one place in the U.S. we can go to where we can get healthy, affordable, and tasty food, Sam?
Right. So so did you start meal prepping yourself, or did you just go open up a business? What did you do?
That was great. There's this defense attorney in Houston. His name's Dan Corrigan. Good guy. And he had 4 secretaries. And so I decided to meal prep, and I made all the food in my house. I was really excited. And this is like lesson 101, right? So I brought them all their meal prep. They paid me the $5 a meal. I went to Kroger's, and I was buying the chicken from Kroger's and the rice. 5 days later, I call the ladies up. Hey, can I get a reorder? Crickets. No one calls me back. I leave voice messages. I went into his place a week later, and I said, why aren't you reordering? You told me you want to be healthy. You told me you want to lose body fat. Let's do this. And the lady, she goes, Mario, I just got to tell you, your food sucks. and that was lesson number 1 is, okay, I'm going to do this no matter what. Food must be tasty, otherwise people won't buy it. And I think that's probably one of the things we could talk about today too is failure. Failure is a good thing if you're going to take failure and you're going to learn from it and you're going to move on, Sam. And like with your business, you've had many failures, but you figured out when you have a failure, how to take that problem and not dwell on the problem, but how to come up with a solution.
Right.
And once you came up with the solution, look at you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was failure number 1.
Oh yeah.
The lady said the food sucked. It's tasteless.
Yes.
And I've bought some meal preps before from people, right? And it sucks.
Right.
And when I was walking your kitchen last week and you were showing me all the spices, and I'm like, well, that's how I cook, right? I have to spice my food. And I like spices, and spices, flavor your food, makes it not boring, doesn't make it bland. So let's go back over here. So, back to after the ladies, the receptionist and the secretary said, food sucks. What do you do?
I talk to everybody about it. So if I don't have an answer to a problem, I talk about it. And I talked to 3 people. Oh, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. I was getting my hair cut at Studio 21 by Kurt Keener. And we're talking about it. And he goes, hey, I know a lady, and she cooks soul food. She's working at McDonald's right now. She's probably making $2 an hour or $200 a week. He goes, offer her a job for $250. She'll spice up your food. So I met her. I offered her a job. She took it on. And that was lesson number 2 is you don't have to do everything yourself, but you got to surround yourself with people who know how to get things done. And she made the food taste good. And my first 6 meals, they were horrible, to be honest with you. Lean lemon turkey, that was a creation. I lucked into it, and that's just from trying different recipes. But she helped out a lot.
Now, so you got this lady now. Now she's cooking. Now she's helping you cook, making the food taste good. What do you do next?
It's kind of funny. This is a good one, man. She's working with me for about 4 months. And she was having a hard time. She's making more money than at McDonald's. Well, I guess, a lesson here is pay your employees well.
Right.
Back then, I didn't have much money. So I was paying people $7, $8 cash. I'm still working as a trainer full time. So you're a trainer 50 hours a week. You're the entrepreneur 40 hours a week. And she ended up quitting. And the food was inconsistent. The product was inconsistent. And what I learned was that I just had to pay people more money, man. And back then, $10 an hour cash was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
And I did that. And the food became more consistent. I couldn't afford it. Like, I honestly couldn't afford it as a trainer, but it was the right thing to do, and that worked out for us. So going from an apartment kitchen to a catering kitchen, and in this catering kitchen, we used to cook from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. That was our hours of cooking. You know, it's really like a story of starting off a business maybe the wrong way. But I think when you start off a business the wrong way, you learn all your lessons and you learn the hard lessons. And that pretty much embeds in your DNA and creates some good lessons.
Right.
Learning.
So now you hire people, you're in a commercial kitchen, working 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Where does Myfit Food come in the equation?
Great question. Did that for about a year. And I realized that it was a dead end. We were only cooking 2 times a week. And from there, we were able to get our first retail location on Shepherd and Westheimer.
I remember that location.
Yeah. Great original location.
That was next to Churrasco's, right? Or close to Churrasco's.
Right across the street from Churrasco's.
Right across the street,
correct, Sam. You know, I had to ask that landlord, Basim, great dude, gave me a shot. I had to ask him to give me that location 10 times. And it was the 10th time I went in there. He just said, "You're not going to stop bugging me, are you?" And I said, "Basim, did you come for money?" He goes, "No." I said, Did another person ever give you a shot coming up? And he looked at me, he goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm asking you for my shot, man. Give me this location. Give me a chance." And he gave us a chance, and we got our first retail location.
And and you named it Myfit Food. Correct. How did you come up with Myfit Foods? I mean, it's a really good name, right?
Thanks.
Yeah. So how did you come up with that name?
You know, they say you should never talk bad about other people. That's usually like someone prefaces that before they talk bad. But we're just going to say I used to work with another chef. And I was a trainer who didn't even want to get in the food business. So this chef, it was the chef's name. I said, "Here'd be a great name for you." The chef's name, Fit Foods. That individual ended up saying, "Thank you for the business. Thank you for the clients. Don't want to be partners with you." It's like, all right, cool. Kind of my concept, like 100% my concept. And when I went back and I was talking to one of my mentors, one of the guys I trained, and that's where I got a lot of business acumen, was from people that I trained. And he just said, "You know, Mario, you need to do this business again. You need to do it 100%. You have a business." And he goes, "You're going to have to do the hard work yourself. You can't just show up and be the salesperson. You're going to have to get in the kitchen. You're going to have to go to the grocery store and pick up the food. Like, you're going to have to do everything." And I was thinking about it one day. I was like, you know what? He's right. This is Myfit Foods. And then it hit me. Like, this is awesome. Because when you take your food home, Sammy, and someone goes to grab one of your meals, what do you say? "Hey, that's Myfit Food."
Myfit Food.
And I just love that name, because that's really what I want for Myfit Foods. Is I want all of us to take ownership of Myfit Foods. I want clients to take ownership of Myfit Foods. I want trainers and healthcare professionals to take ownership of Myfit Foods. Myfit Foods is here for a reason. And my dream, healthy, tasty, affordable food for people. That way everybody can be healthy if they want to. So Myfit Foods, that's our company. It's your company, my company.
So that's where Myfit Foods come in, merely by accident, almost, you can say.
Yes.
The name, yeah. Because it was the chef's name, Fit Foods, and then they're like, it's Myfit Foods, and kind of went together.
People think I'm a really smart individual. I'm not. I get lucky a lot, and I pay a lot of attention. I try to listen really good.
Yeah, well, that's good. But the harder you work, the luckier you get.
That's sometimes. Right. And you know, luck's a Texas thing, right? Lucky. Okay. Labor under the correct knowledge, y'all.
I like that. Okay, so then you started this concept, Myfit Foods. All of a sudden, man, you were popping up all over town. I mean, you got a location on the other side of Curb. You got a location on Kirby. You got a location in Galleria. You got one in Memorial. Heck, you got location everywhere you can think about, right?
91 locations from Chicago to LA.
And I think just in Houston you had 30, I think, at one time. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay. And all of a sudden, everywhere you go, Myfit Foods, and all of a sudden people are popping up left and right, like everybody wants to do some kind of, healthy food, but we can say you were here first. And I don't know who did I hear, someone like, it was a billionaire that said it doesn't matter how good you are, it's as long as you get over there first, right? And you were probably one of the first main ones on the horizon.
Correct.
what I mean, and business is good, business is booming. And what happens next?
Hogs get slaughtered, pigs get fat.
Okay.
We grew too fast. We weren't humble anymore. And I say we, like there's a mouse in my pocket. I let the company grow too fast, and I stopped being humble. I forgot, Sam, what got me to where I'm at, and that's just be good to people, be genuine. And I was, I was all about the materialistic things, to be honest with you. I stopped paying attention to the company. And yeah, there's people in the company. At the time, I had a CEO, I had a COO, and you could say, well, maybe they should do a better job. That's not how I look at things. In life, you're either going to take ownership or you're going to be a victim, you know? And looking back at it, growing too fast, taking on too much money, we took on private equity, and we got a good private equity firm that came on board. When I lost majority control, that was a really hard day for me personally. It became way harder 24 hours later when I was asked to cut discounts, cut labor, increase food prices, and somehow cut the cost of my goods. The way I operate a business, I like to give out discounts. I like to take care of people. I like to have extra employees, partners running around. That way you don't have to wait. I want them educated. I believe that we sell a $15 meal. You know, our average meal after discounts leaves less than $7. And when you take away the things that make Myfit Foods great, because people think that we have a great brand. Yeah, the brand's awesome. People love Myfit Foods. But you can't stand on your name alone. You have to have strong muscles, right? You got to have a good heart. You got to have a good mind. And if you don't have that, you're going to fail. And maybe it took 3 years, 4 years after I was out of the company for it to fail. And it failed. And they had a CEO in there who used to run a $500 million business. Didn't work out too good for him.
So, and then the company failed. But at this time, for 3 years, you were already on the sidelines, or were you already out of the company?
I was out of the company.
So they basically forced you out.
Yeah. And you know, I would sit there going on my hikes. There was a lot of pity parties, okay? And I would just think, wow, I'm going to be that dude, you know, looking at that company, and I'm going to be in a bar somewhere and say, oh, I started that company, and everyone's going to laugh at me and think I'm a liar. And I always wanted a second chance, but I never thought I'd get one.
So let me ask you this, Mario. And I mean, you know, it's kind of a lot of people probably who listen to it, they probably think, well, when you sell a company or you give it to private equity and you made it, you're rich as heck. You know, you don't need to work another day.
Yeah.
Was that the case?
No. I didn't get as much money as people thought I got. I also was stupid with my money. All right. And I feel like this podcast is good to be honest. You know, don't sit here and try to make yourself better than you are. I was very lucky that I made 2 good investments that turned around a couple years later. And that allowed me to have enough money, barely enough money, to start up Myfit Foods version 2. And the amount of capital I had was around $770,000. And I can tell you within the first 8 months, I went from $771,000 down to $7,000 in my bank account. There was a point in time, we started back in Portland. I was losing $70,000 a month. And I could see the burn going down, and I knew what I was doing, but it just wasn't going down fast enough. You know, one of the best things that happened to me is Aaron Dorland, who used to work with Myfit Foods, he came on board and he's working in the kitchens. And we got a guy named Aaron Purcells who used to work with Myfit Foods. He's working the kitchens. So in Portland, our kitchens are covered. I met this new guy named Nick Travail. Dude's a beast. He's awesome, man. And it was July 4th. I remember we threw away like 1,000 meals. I was like, okay, I got to manage these par levels myself. And I started managing them. And this dude on a Chromebook starts punching in things, comes up with his formulas, and we have this par system. Back in old Myfit Foods, we had about 5 to 7% food wastage. That's a lot of money on $8 million a month worth of product. These days, food wastage is less than 0.5%. And before we even waste food, we donate those meals. So got a little sidetracked there, but yeah.
So let me ask you a question. It's difficult, when you create something and you lose it.
Right.
Okay. And then, like you said, you'd never think that you'll ever get a second chance at something. And I mean, you're one of the fortunate, one of the lucky ones. Hey, you know what? I got a second stab. Let me do it the right way.
Correct.
But how was it when you lost the company till you restarted? What happened there? I mean, how much did you think of it? How heavy was it on you? How much did it weigh on you? And what did you think of yourself till that time?
Here's how heavy it was. I sold everything I had, all my cars, my watches. I sold my house in Lake Travis. I got a motorhome. I was so ashamed, man. I didn't want to go out to dinners. I didn't want to see my friends. I had stopped drinking for a whole year at the time too. And I realized a lot of people in my friend group, they like to drink. And at the time, I can't handle alcohol. Mm-hmm. Every day, feeling like you've disrespected yourself, you've lost your name, you let your customers down, you let your employees down, you let yourself down. My grandmother, on her deathbed, Sam, she told me to be humble. That is the one woman who's like unconditionally, my mom loves me too. My grandmother's huge to me. To let her down, you feel like that big, man. And it's something you carry every single day. Like my uncle Mario, who I'm named after, Mario Mendes, he died in Vietnam as a war hero. There's a street in Marfa named after him. But now when you look up Mario Mendes, you're going to see some guy who got arrested for an empty bag of cocaine. Like that doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm. So if I heard you right, you became successful real fast, mm-hmm. real quick.
Yep.
Lost focus of your company,
mm-hmm.
lost the humility factor, became arrogant, started buying a lot of toys and what a lot of business people do.
Mm-hmm.
You became a victim of that business cash that was not yours.
Sam, you listen very well.
It was you were working with the business math. You know what business math is, right?
Tell me.
We think our revenue is our money. When at the end, it's not our money, right?
No.
Business people, they always think, hey, you know what? I sell $5 million. That means I made $5 million.
Right.
You did not. You might have made 8% or 6% or 10% of that. Depends on how good of an operator you are.
And then wait for the taxes.
And then don't forget the taxes, because Uncle Sam wants his money.
Hey, I love great roads. I love living in America. I love paying my taxes, but sometimes they're a little painful.
They're a little painful. So, and that's one thing that, I'm glad I appreciate it. I appreciate you, being vulnerable and telling us your story, because a lot of people, they don't realize that, where they say, does money buy you happiness? Does money make you do this? Does money, and what the saying that says money is the root of all evils is becomes so true, because money can either transform you into a great person, or money can transform you into somebody you will not like.
Correct.
Okay. And
Correct.
So to stay grounded and to stay humble is the biggest thing. And your grandma said that she was a wise woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, because I'm sure she looked at you, Mario, and she saw, greatness. And she knew one day that you'll be great. And that's one thing that I tell everybody. And I mean, my dad told me always, be humble. If you give somebody, give from the right, the left shouldn't even know. Mm-hmm. What did you do?
Correct.
And that's a couple of lessons that are good to share with that. I appreciate you sharing, why humility is so important.
It's important. So
now you go and you disappear. You've made some investment with some money that you received. Mm-hmm. You got some good dividends. Why did you go all the way to Portland? How did you end up in Portland from Houston?
Great question. I wanted to come back to Houston, but I told myself, and when I've been my absolute most successful, Sam, it's when I'm in a hard position. Mm-hmm. I could give you so many examples in my life where by being in the hard position and coming out successfully, that made me better. And I looked at different locations. I looked at Denver, I looked at Houston, I looked at Austin, and I got an opportunity. And it was, I got a phone call on March 30th of 2018. And this guy who had actually invested quite a bit of money with one of my old employees to open up all these locations. He called me up and he just said, hey, you know, I heard, Mario, that you're pretty good in this business, and I got these 3 locations. I can't make payroll. I'm 3 months behind in rent. Like, if you want them, you can take them over. Just make me an offer. And so on April Fool's of 2018, I'm on an airplane going to Portland. And I flew in. The food was not good. The food was, they weren't even using salt. They were using a sodium substitute. The food was like $13 for some of the crappiest meal prep food I've ever had. I walked into the first location. This guy was like maybe 6'8", didn't even greet me, didn't even say hi to me. I shopped, I got my meals. I said, hey, he's sitting there talking to a lady. And I was like, hey, would you mind checking me out real quick? And he puts his hand up. He goes, I'm talking to my girlfriend. I'll get to you in a second. I said, I'm the customer and I'm the one who pays the bills, so you're going to stop talking girlfriend right now, and you're going to come over here and you're going to ring me up, man. And he stood up. He was 6'8". It's like, oh boy, he's got me by a whole foot, right? That was the culture over there. And then I looked at the locations. They weren't locations I would have picked. I love good real estate. I met a couple of my old employees who used to work for Myfit Foods. They were all the way in Portland, Oregon, working. It wasn't a smart decision. Like, if I could go back, maybe I wouldn't have done it again. But when I made my mind up, and I made my mind up on the way home, I said, if we can be successful, that mouse in my pocket, if we can be successful out of Portland, Oregon, out of those locations, and if I can turn around that company with that product, that price point, that customer service, those people, we're going to do great in Denver. And then by the time I get done with Denver and we go to Houston, I'm going to come back to Texas with my head held high, not like a dog leaving with my tail between my legs. And that's why I made that decision. And it sucked. And it was hard, man. I was sleeping, me, Nick, and Aaron, we're all sleeping on blow-up mattresses for 6 months.
Wow. Wow. So that's what made you come back to Houston. But how was Denver? Let me ask you that. So first of all, you said you didn't like the locations. I'm sure you had to transform bring new culture in there. And I'm sure that was hustle. How did you, and then you go to Denver. But why Denver all the way from Portland?
So I lived in Denver, but I made the investment in the Portland locations.
Oh, so you were living in Denver at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, the people in Portland, they're really cool. What I've learned is people in Texas, people in Colorado, people in Oregon, we're all humans. We all want to work out. We all want to be healthy. We want to live long lives. We want to have good food. We want to be treated with respect. And this thing that we put in our heads that, oh, this market's different or this market's different. At the end of the day, if you treat people right, they're going to reciprocate and they're going to treat you right. So in Denver, in Portland, the locations that I bought, I structured a deal where I bought the locations off the guy. The employee that took the guy on as investor had his own location in Denver. And the writing was on the walls. And he was trying to sell it to me. And this time what I told myself is, I'm not going to buy it from this guy. I'm going to wait until he shuts the doors himself. And I'm not going to give him one penny of mine. And the day he shut the doors, I had already talked to the landlord. I had a lease done in less than 24 hours. When they had the auction for all the equipment, I was there. I actually wasn't there. David Pedley, my attorney, was there. He did the bids on the equipment, and I got the equipment. I basically got a $200,000 store for $17,000, which was really important because I only had $24,000 in my bank account.
Left. Left. So then how did Denver
I didn't even know how I was going to pay for the food, but I was like, well, it's a good opportunity. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And then how did Denver do?
Denver did wonderful.
And Denver is doing good right now.
Yes. The guy, Nick, that I told you about, he's a strong man. And he's a strong person. And he had Aaron Dorland over there for the kitchen side. They're both really strong dudes. I left them to the wolves. But from working with me in Portland, They knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And watching these guys grow was amazing. And they did something I never saw coming. By the way, one of my best friends is a guy named Joe Pacina. I got Justin Williams out there. He's the general manager. Like, the team's awesome. But this team, Sam, they did something magical. Culture. They worked with all the trainers in Denver. They got the food all out. And their sales numbers kept on growing and growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really proud of them, because when the customer votes for you, it means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And when the customer is referring people to you, it means you're doing something right. My job as the founder, it's to set the employees up with the right tools to be successful and the right product to be successful, right? You still got to have operators who are amazing at what they do.
Got you. So now let me ask you, come back to Houston. You got the prime location in Houston, have the same Myfit Foods. Let's talk about Myfit Foods. And when you walked me through the kitchen the other day,
Yeah.
and you were like, you're really proud of your ingredients. You're like, look, Sam, I got this olive oil. Look at the ingredients, olive oil, pure olive oil. You get these spices from Colorado, and you're telling me everything, right, about how it's supposed to be fresh and this and that. Tell us a little bit. Why do you pay so much attention on little stuff like freshness, spices, flavor? Tell me, what is your mindset about that?
I'm going to tell you why. When I came back to Houston and I took my first customer, I had to go in the bathroom, and like I say, I broke down. It hit me really hard. To have this lady walk in and say, I'm so happy you're back. I missed Myfit Food so much. Thank you for starting again. And she said, I lost 60 pounds. I used to be a customer in your Maryland location. I would eat Myfit Foods all the time. And if I would start gaining weight, I would just go back to Myfit Foods. She goes, I loved your product, and I'm so happy to have you back. That's a responsibility. I can't afford to let this company go under again. I can't afford to let the employees not have jobs. I can't afford, and I'm talking personally, right? Not to take care of the customers. I'm a customer of Myfit Foods. You're a customer of Myfit Foods. Myfit Foods is my baby, and she has a responsibility to her customers. The spices, they come from Savory Spice out of Colorado. They're ground fresh for us. We get them shipped to us in 1 week. There's no colors. There's no artificial colors. There's no preservatives. There's no added sugars. There's no added sodium. That's beautiful. That's why one of the reasons the food tastes so good. The fats. We only cook with extra virgin olive oil. There's no other ingredients. It's just extra virgin olive oil. We also cook with high oleic sunflower oil. And these are two of the best fats you could possibly put in your body. They have smoke points over 450 degrees, so your fat never gets oxidized and it stays as a healthy fat. Our carbohydrates, we make sure that we match up our carbohydrates to the proteins. So if you got 40 grams of carbs, you got 40 grams of protein. The way the food is designed is so we can, one, keep muscle mass, which is extremely important. 2, burn body fat. And the way you do that is by putting your body in a caloric deficit with enough protein to make sure you're not losing muscle mass. A couple scary thoughts for me. I got this guy's name in my head right now, Ben House. He's like, don't throw out fear tactics. It's not fear tactics, but 97% of people who lose weight regain it in 5 years. That's horrible. That is a horrible number. But if that same 97% of those people had a coach who held them accountable, I don't think they would regain the weight. If those same 97% of people had a place they could eat at where meals were affordable and tasted good, I don't think that that great of a percentage of them were going to gain weight back. So the attention to the food, the vegetables, you saw when we toured, everything is hand cut. Everything is fresh. We trim our own tenderloin by hand. We cook all of our meats, on the skillets, in the ovens, on the tilt skillet. A lot of love goes into our food.
Mm-hmm.
Our company motto is give a fit.
Mm-hmm.
Every employee at Myfit Foods, they truly care about what they're doing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the word humble. I don't like the word pride, but I got to tell you, we take a lot of pride in what we do for people, and we understand from the dishwasher to the CEO, there's a human being who's going to be eating that food. Let's do our best job to make them the best meal that they deserve. That's why. You know, you saw the protein powder was organic, plant-based protein powder. Newsflash, that stuff is really expensive. Why do we do that? You're worth it. I'm worth it. Anybody who wants to get in better shape, they're worth the product.
The product. Now let me ask you, Mario. You know, a lot of people have misconception about you match your protein to carbs,
Yes.
and a lot of people there's a concept. There's different schools of thoughts, right? And some people say, well, carbs are bad for you, and some people say, no, you should have carbs because carbs are your fuel.
Correct.
Okay, and then they're like, okay, well, look, just have low carbs, but then, you know, most of your meals match the protein and the carbs, you know. And when I say not maybe 100%, but still, it's really close proximity.
Correct.
Why?
I'm no PhD.
Mm.
I'm no PhD of nutrition, but I'm very fortunate to know a PhD in nutrition named Dr. Ben House, and he's one of the best in the U.S. I had all these preconceived mythical notions, myths, right? You can't eat super late at night. You got to eat low glycemic food. You got to have way, way, way more protein. Carbs are bad for you. Green beans are bad for you because green beans are a vegetable with the highest sugar content. Once I started looking at studies, and the studies, they were served to me on a silver platter, plain as day. People they were eating like 250 grams. This is a study. They're eating like 250 grams of carbs a day. They got the exact same results as people who are eating high protein and high fat, aka keto.
Mm-hmm.
What did it come down to? They were both eating the same amount of calories. And when it comes down to weight loss, one of the things you really want to look at, how many calories are you eating? And there's paleo, there's keto, there's so many diets out there I can talk about. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to calories. Now, let's say you're eating a lot of carbs, but you don't have enough protein while you're dieting. This is sad. People, let's say a person loses 10 pounds of weight. 4 pounds could come from muscle. 6 pounds could come from fat. So even though that person lost 10 pounds or 20 or 30 pounds, they still look like the same body type. And that's one of the things with Myfit Foods I'm so interested about. Like right now with you on your program, we're working on recomping Sam. The goal here should be when it comes down to fat loss, not weight loss, but fat loss. The goal should be to recomp. Can you lose body fat? And studies now show, Sam, not only can you lose body fat, but you can put on muscle mass at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So think about this. You got a study. Half this group, they're not working out at all. They lose weight. They lose 10 pounds, but they're losing muscle and they're losing fat. Their resting metabolic rate in the beginning of the study was 1,700 calories.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the study, their resting metabolic rate was 1,500 calories. They're burning less calories per day. The other group, who only worked out one time per week, at the end of the study, their resting metabolic rate went up by 75 calories. It doesn't sound like much, 75, 200, but combined, that's a 275 calorie gap. And if you carry that over 10 days, that's 2,750 calories.
So you telling me that working out is really important?
I'm going to say this. As the founder of Myfit Foods and as a guy who's really passionate about this, absolutely. You don't have to go to the gym and become a meathead. But you got to challenge your body. You could challenge your body with body squats, with push-ups and pull-ups. As a former personal trainer, I want you to go in the gym and I want you to meet a personal trainer who doesn't try to kick your butt so hard you can't sit down. But I want to set you up with a personal trainer who's going to be nice to you, That's one of the things we actually do at Myfit Foods is we know all these trainers, and our trainers are so nice. They'll give our clients 1 or 2 or even 3 free sessions.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, yeah, you definitely want to challenge your body. If you want long-term results, if you don't want to be the 97% of the people who gain their weight back in 5 years, you've got to either keep your muscle mass or you have to increase it. And we got to work on that resting metabolic rate.
Now, let me ask you. You said challenge your body. Is it tricking your body same as challenging your body?
It could be very similar.
Okay.
You know, like you could trick it by doing different workouts. You could trick it by doing different sets. You could trick it by the different amount of time. At the same time, we could also call those challenging your body.
You know, Mario, you're a little more expert on this. I mean, I'll say because you've been in this industry, you're a personal trainer. Sometimes people, you know, I've heard of always cheat meals, cheat days. How important, or are they not important, or you shouldn't have them? I mean, are they? I mean, what do you think? What is your opinion of that?
You know, the more that I learn, the less I know. Like the more I learn, the more I realize I just don't know as much. You know.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a cheat meal, let's say you want to go have a cheat meal tonight, and it's gonna be 1,500 calories. I'm gonna encourage that, but we're gonna monitor how many calories you eat that day up to your cheat meal.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know that Sam needs 2,200 calories per day,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to recommend that you get 700 calories in during the day. And then when you go to whatever beautiful restaurant in Houston you want to go to, I want you to have fun. And I don't want you to feel awkward when you're with your friends, like, oh, I'm on a diet, right? Nah, eat the steak, eat the cheesecake, have fun. Mm-hmm. Does refeeding help spike your metabolism? This might be the first time I ever say this. I can't honestly answer that question, but I know like Dr. House, he could answer that question for us, man. Mm-hmm. I would say this. It's not about the cheat meal. It's about the lifestyle. And what we have to do is we have to learn how to become healthier. And we also can't rob ourselves of enjoyment from life. So we have to get an education as human beings on how we can go have that good meal out and at the same time have our shake during that day or have our healthy breakfast that day. And if we can have moderation and we can have balance, Sam, we're going to be very successful. And that 97% of people regaining their weight, we can change that stat.
So let me see if I get this right. So basically what you're telling me is all important how much weight you lose and how much muscle you gain. The most important thing is calories, how many calories you're consuming. And then you got to make sure you have high proteins.
You got to make sure you have enough proteins.
Enough proteins.
To support your muscle mass while you're in a caloric deficit. And you've got to have some type of exercise. If you're eating perfect and you don't have some type of exercise, you're probably going to lose some muscle mass.
And like you said, 70 to 80% is nutrition, but the other 20 to 30% is exercise.
That's correct.
So I mean, if you just exercise and then just keep eating pizzas and ice cream and donuts, it's no good.
No good.
But if you're having a really good strict regimen of diet, but not exercise, it's still not 100%.
Perfect, man.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's what. Now, Mario, you're back. You're doing good food. You know, I'm a customer of yours. I've been in your store. You got, you know, great environment, great, you know, energy over there. You got, like you said, you have fitness instructors over there. You got a scale right there. You can measure your body fat, and I know those machines cost like $5,000-$6,000.
That they are.
And I mean, everything is right there. I mean, you given that experience and everything, you got a nice prep area. I walked in your kitchen, clean. I mean, it's really clean. You can eat off the floor right there.
Oh yeah,
everything is good.
I may have done a couple 5-second rules. Or if I see some food drop, I just pick it up, put it in my mouth. I don't put it back to be served to the customer, but you know, it's clean floor.
What is next for Mario Mendes and Myfit Foods?
What I like right now is we're set up for the customer. You know, let's say we meet you in a gym. We offer you a free day's worth of meals. Mm-hmm. And anybody listening to this podcast, come inside the store, say you listen to Mario, talk to Sam, and Mario said, I can get a free day worth of meals. You're going to set me up on an in-body machine. Because here's what's important out there is if you don't know how many calories you need per day, you just don't know what you need to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that for you for free. We also show you how many grams of protein you need. And this whole thing, it took us 5 minutes, Sam?
Yeah, 5 to 6 minutes.
It's easy. And then we give you a free day worth of meals to see if you like how the food tastes and to see how you feel eating based off of how you should.
Yeah.
That right there is what's next. Taking a meal prep company and making it a fitness company. Can we give the consumer what they actually need to be successful?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can. Can we get, whether it's a personal trainer, massage therapist, a doctor, a dietitian, can we give them the tools? Can we give them a place to send their clients so their clients can be successful? Yes, we can. When we meet clients who need a doctor, they need a chiropractor, they need a trainer, can we reciprocate that and send business back to our partners? Yes, we can. And in the future for Myfit Foods, I think what you're asking is the future growth maybe?
Yeah. Future, just 2-3 year plan, 5-year plan.
Yeah. Having an app and making fitness easy for everyone. I don't think that you should have to come inside a store and put yourself on an InBody. I would like to see you be able to go on our app and figure out how many calories and how much protein you need based off your activity level. Mm-hmm. And if you're having problems from there, you can talk to one of the 6 dietitians that work full-time with Myfit Foods. Mm-hmm. We currently have our retail stores. We're doing home delivery. The entire cities of Denver, Portland, and Houston. We're about to have in-state delivery in Texas, Colorado, and Oregon. And that's really cool. And what I'd like to do is as we continue to grow, I share 25% of profits with employees. Mm. The other 75% of profits, I just put it 100% back into the company. And I would like to see us grow to at least 20 markets in the next 3 to 4 years.
Now, Mario, you said delivery. I want you to touch base with customers, tell customers delivery, because that's something very important, because right now you have one location, and which is by Greenway Plaza area.
Yes.
And if I live in Cypress, or if I live in Sugar Land, or if I live in Stafford, even though Sugar Land is probably 15-minute drive, but sometimes we're all busy. We are so busy.
Correct.
Right? And we want to get that, and then we're like, no, I don't want to go. How can they... Tell us about your delivery program.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
We deliver Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We deliver all the way out to Katy. We deliver all the way out to the Woodlands. We deliver all the way out to Sugar Land. We even deliver to the east side where I got shot. And it doesn't make a lot of sense business-wise to open up the delivery radius that ride because they're all our delivery drivers. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I don't want to say I don't care about making money. I care about doing what's right. And if you're busy, we got you covered. If you order over $100, your delivery is 100% for free. It comes in an insulated bag with 10 pounds of ice to keep your meals cold in the Houston heat. And your meals, if you sign up for Fit Club, you get a 20% discount. And so your average meal is going to be about $7.
Yeah. So let's just say $8. So, so you're basically getting about 12 meals or 13 meals. Uh-huh. That includes the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner.
Correct.
So you're roughly getting about 4 days worth of food, maybe 5 days.
Correct.
Okay.
It's about $20 to $25 a day. It's affordable.
Yeah. And pretty real affordable because you can go to Whataburger and get the food costs $8 too.
Correct. Whataburger's pretty good though.
Yeah, Whataburger's pretty
good. It's not good for your waistline, but it's pretty good for your taste buds.
Pretty good. Yeah, for sure. So you go, and what is the delivery charge? Is there a delivery charge?
If it's under $100, the delivery charge is a whopping $8.
Okay.
And what we ask for tips, if you want to tip your delivery driver, feel free to. But what we really like, tell your friends in the neighborhood so the delivery drivers can make more money.
Yeah. So if it's under $100, if I don't want 5 days worth of food, if I only want 3 days worth of food,
$8 delivery.
$8. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. $8. You can't even. I mean, it's worth it. If I live in Sugar Land, or if I live in the Galleria, 10 minutes away, it's just worth it to get it delivered.
Correct. And the delivery cost me $17. And the way I do business is I split it with the customer. So write down the half. That's about $18.50. I'll round down to $8.
$8.50. Yeah.
If you want convenience, it's $8. Yeah.
All right. So if anybody out there listening, make sure give Mario a ring on that. I mean, so Mario, how do they reach Myfit Foods?
Our website is the best way.
Okay.
www.myfitfoods.com.
Myfitfoods.com.
And I think I just dated myself by saying www. Myfitfoods.com.
Myfitfoods.com. and of course, y'all are on Instagram.
Yes.
And you personally are on Instagram.
Yes.
And what is your personal Instagram?
It's _A_Mario.
So it's a
4
Mario.
O's. Yep.
It's _A_Mario. It's a Mario.
Correct. And you'll see Jeep, hiking, my dog, food. Those are the type of pictures. And for Myfit Foods, it's Myfit Foods Official.
Mm-hmm. Myfit Foods Official. Mm-hmm. And so how many locations are we going to do in Houston? What is the plan?
The plan in Houston is 5 locations.
5 locations.
Correct.
We don't want to do 30. We want to do 5 or 4 or 5, somewhere right there.
That's correct. I think in Houston, us working on the deliveries and making sure that we have locations so people can go in retail storefronts. We don't need
You're basically trying to cover the corners.
Yep, that's exactly what we're doing. And we're not Starbucks. I'm not going to try to be Starbucks. Lesson painfully learned.
Lesson painfully learned. I love it. So you said next plan is have some markets, have some in Houston, have some other markets, a lot of other states, have an app developed, become more like a fitness company.
Correct.
Rather than just a food company. Everything with the synergy work hand in hand. And that's lovely. And one thing that I really, really liked over here that you did is that you shared your failures. Yeah. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard for people. I mean, I've had guests on this show, on this podcast. It's a real podcast. It's called Make Shit Happen. Fail, get up, make shit happen again, right?
Correct.
And but I've had people who only give us the abbreviated version or the good version that people can see. And that's a problem with our society now.
Be transparent.
Right? That's a problem with our society. We only show very little part of our life on social media, and we have become adapted to that, right? And people look at just that 10% or 15%. They don't see the 85%. They don't see the struggles. They don't see the failures. They don't see the mistakes. We're all human at the end of the day. Crying out loud. We all make mistakes. We learn. Let's get back up. Make shit happen, man.
Right. Newsflash, not everyone is in Tulum every single day. And, Sam, I can tell you're wrapping it up. I'd like to just send out a lot of love to every single employee and every single customer and fan of Myfit Foods. I appreciate you more than you know. And to all the employees out there, I know you work hard every single day so people can have meals. It means the world to me, but I'm going to tell you something more important. It means the world to all your customers and your fans out there. And on a really cool note, too, we have this program now where every 4 meals that you buy, we donate 1 meal to people in need.
Really?
And so we do that by it's basically 20 cents for every meal.
Man, that's awesome.
And so far this year, it's 297,000 meals we've donated to people in need in Portland and Denver. And now we're working with Houston as well. And it's a cool company.
I love it. Mario, let me ask you a question. Let's just say today was, you ended up living 100 years over here now. Mm-hmm. And today is the last day in this world. And say, hey, Mario, they come to you and say, Mario, you know what? You lived a good life. And you shared a lot of joy. You donated a lot of meals. You wrote some books. You did a lot of podcasts, a lot of videos, a lot of pictures. But everything got to go with you. We're going to give you a piece of pen. We give you a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to write 3 things that's important in life. 3 things that you want to leave it to your future generation, the future world, and how to live life, how to be great, how to conduct life in every day. These can be your 3 truths, whatever it is. What will it be?
Wow. I'd say number 1, what my grandmother said, be humble. And being humble is, you may be in a station in life where other people aren't there yet, but being humble means it's your responsibility to take care of them. Be humble. Number 2, know that serving others and truly serving others is probably one of the most rewarding things that you can ever do. go out of your way. Go out of your way to serve people, whether it's opening the door or it's, business-wise, or it's mentoring someone or making someone's life better. Serve them. And for your soul, that's more rewarding than money. Like that's a good thing. And the third thing, be present, be in the moment, and have fun. I spent a lot of time always thinking about what's next. And like just being right here, Sammy, I appreciate your time. I appreciate having me on your podcast. I appreciate being in front of an extremely successful individual who actually wants to hear what I have to say, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And, have fun.
That's good. I love it. Love it what you said, man. Humility is something that I touch all the time, and I ask most of the time towards my end of my interview, what how do you define humility? I think you have done it already. I think you've defined it just correctly. And so I appreciate it. I thank you for coming over here. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being such a great host when I visited you at your Myfit Food, and I wish you nothing but great things and great success in your company, and and it's great to have a second chance at something, and you got it. So
absolutely,
I wish you good luck, man.
Sammy,
thank you
so
brother.
much.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, brother.